Harry's Wife, part 102.62. Deal with the devil. No, not a deal with me, though you might think that was the case, but of course, more about Harry's wife. This time we go to gbnews.uk with an article by Aidan J. Wood that tells us Harry's wife wants to rubbish royal family as Sussexes stuck with the devil over Netflix and book deals. Let's dive in. Harry's wife and Prince Harry stuck with the devil over their Netflix and book deals, a royal author has claimed. The pair have been reportedly filming an At Home with the Sussexes, sounds deadly dull, docu-series for Netflix as part of a £91 million deal with the streaming service. While Harry is also set to release a tell-all memoir, which reportedly could include revelations about the royal family. Now, in a forthcoming video, I'll be telling you about some of the many contradictions that have arisen between what Harry writes in the memoir and what has been produced in the docu-series. Quelle surprise! Harry's wife being caught up in yet more contradictions. Who'd have thought it? But anyway, that's in the future. A video that's coming your way in the next day or so. Continuing with this article, royal biographer Tom Bower believes the pair need the money from the deals because they have no other source of income. Well, absolutely right. Neither of them work. It's not like Harry has been getting down his local Walmart and stacking some shelves. Well, I don't know really what's happened to his position as chimp officer that he was involved in the Better Up organisation. Doesn't seem really to be doing much in that respect. Perhaps he wants to be a professional PlayStation or Xbox player, but I dare say he's going to be outskilled there, because if the reports of him smoking the old ganja are true, it may well affect his concentration. Harry's wife, of course, once was an actress. Some also say a mattress actress. So I suppose she could fall back on either of those two professions if necessary. But as it stands, neither of them actually do anything and don't have other income streams. And unfortunately for Netflix and unfortunately for Spotify, they've been roundly taken for a ride in handing over vast amounts of wonga for fuck all. Speaking on GB News' Dan Wooten tonight, Mr. Bower said, they need the money, residual benefit, and they need it more now, more than ever, because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix. They're tied to the book. And all the criticism they're going to take means nothing, because that's the only way they're going to earn their money. Mr. Bower, of course, identifying the fact that they're going to cop for plenty of flack, undoubtedly as a consequence of porky pies, smearing of the royal family, and general dullness of the material, which means there'll be repeated challenge to control, challenge to control, challenge to control with regard to Harry's wife, and she's going to have to ride it out. And of course, as always, her narcissism will assist her in doing so through one or more of the three assertions of control. Returning to the article, Mr. Bower added, Harry's wife is money-obsessed, residual benefit, and always has been, and that is why she married Prince Harry. Her great surprise and disappointment was that Prince Harry had very little money. She'd imagined he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, and she's having to make up for it now. This is a valid observation of Mr. Bower. Harry's wife, not being too bright herself, probably thinks, ooh, a prince, he lives in a castle, he wears crowns, he has people running around doing things for him, he must have huge amounts of wealth, oodles of gold coins in a dungeon and treasure chests overflowing with diamonds and sapphires and emeralds and rubies. He must be hugely wealthy. Now, of course, Harry is wealthy. He's a multimillionaire. But when you've got a security bill of a couple of mil each year, and then you've got a staff that has to be paid, and then lawns that need to be kept verdant and lush despite there being a drought, and when you've got to buy lots of clothes that look crap on you, And also, you've got to pay bungs to keep the PR pieces of complete puffery flowing, and you've got to buy awards. You soon burn through that cash. A brighter individual, a narcissist that was not as financially haphazard as she is, would not only be able to leverage the opportunity to create content using talent, and also leverage to get better deals, and also wouldn't keep fucking up so people start to think, I'm not so sure we want to be associated with dim and empty, not such a good look for us, and, of course, wouldn't burn through the cash as much. You will, of course, see many narcissists who get famous, get rich, and then spunk it all on thousands of pairs of golden trainers and don't pay their tax bill and end up bankrupt. Why? Guided by their narcissism. No accountability for the delivery of payment of taxes, sense of entitlement to spend on what they want, and living in the moment. The narcissism says, buy a pair of trainers, you can triangulate people with them, they'll look really cool. The entourage go, ooh, they're really cool, can we have some? Sure, I'll buy you all some trainers. Suddenly $10,000 has been spent, and then let's go to a club, and then there's a bar bill of $50,000, and on it goes. And that narcissist, without thinking about what the future brings, because the narcissism doesn't function that way, spunks their money in the now. And it allows the assertion of control through such financial largesse. It allows the receipt of fuel from all those supposedly grateful individuals. It creates status and appearance, going into the VIP section of the bar, and along comes the champagne snake as they bring in the bottles of Cristal with the fireworks wrapped around them in the napkin so that everyone can see that there's somebody got money in the house, so all the leeches can come crawling out, perhaps other narcissists, of course, and they end up with a huge bar bill. They end up spending in the now because the narcissism causes them to do so. Now, they may well have a talent that they've successfully monetized, but they soon burn through the money. You've often seen this, for instance, with certain boxers and pop stars. Sometimes they've just made such a little go a very long way, and they burn through the money, and then they find that they haven't got any talent then to leverage anything further, and it's back to working in a retail store for them. Or they basically hawk themselves as some kind of expert, going around for a few $1,000s here and there, offering their vacuous insights on very little indeed, often commenting about reality TV stars. The fact is, Harry's wife's narcissism is such that while she's not as bad as some of the people that I've explained there in terms of frittering away the money, she can certainly spend it. And as Mr. Bauer identifies, Harry is nowhere near as wealthy as she imagined. And this, as I've explained in parts passing, could well prove a problem, leading to disengagement. Mr. Bauer continues to state, I don't see how the Sussexes can give up the Netflix and Bug deal. They wouldn't be living in a Monty Shitshow cottage. They're more likely to live in downtown LA in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. Mr. Bauer went on to say he believes Harry could be offered a get-out clause from King Charles III, but the same cannot be said for Harry's wife. He continued, the only way I can think of Harry getting out of it now is if Charles would bail him out. Somehow, he'd have to pay off Netflix. He'd have to pay off Random House publishers. It would cost millions of pounds. But Charles might give that to him in return for a signed agreement never to knock the royal family again. That's the only thing I can imagine that would actually end this confrontation. But I can't see Harry's wife signing that deal. She has got no interest whatsoever in giving away being silent. She wants the battle. She wants to rubbish the royal family and move on to bigger things. If if King Charles III were to make such an offer, and it's possible, he can assert control through his wealth by saying, I'll buy you out of these things, but you've got to stay stum. Harry would in all likelihood go, oh, thanks, Peter, and sign up for it. Why? Because he still has emotional empathy for his family, notwithstanding his behaviour. And also, it would enable him to avoid having to keep smearing them. Harry's wife wouldn't want to. It would be too much of a threat to control, notwithstanding the fact that it would get them out of their financial predicament. But she, driven by her incessant need for control and her rampant pride, would think, there'll be other people that will give me contracts, there'll be other deals to be done. If I can get 100 million or so out of Netflix, Amazon Prime will want me. All I need to do is cozy up to Jeff Bezos and do some breathy voiceovers, and I'm sure that he'll be swooning and writing out large checks for me. Such is the level of her delusion. But, as always, she fails to realise she has no talent whatsoever, and fewer and fewer people are going to be willing to have anything to do with her. The majority that do now are either deluded sugars or people that benefit by simply enabling her to spend her money on them. Once that dries up, she will find that those supposed friends vanish very quickly indeed. And then she has little to offer thereafter to try and get back to the position that she once was in. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.